All right, everyone, welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to tackle something that's a little tricky. We're talking about B12 deficiency.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, it can be tough to spot, and, it can really impact your health in some unexpected ways.
Right, right.
We're going to be looking at a fantastic article called Fun and Easy Health.
Love that one.
It's a great resource, very accessible, but we're going to, extract the real gems, the need-to-know stuff.
Absolutely.
Now, some of the symptoms they talk about, they're surprising, like mood swings
Hmm.
or like just totally wiped out. And they even mention some potential links to cancer, which, sounds a little scary.
Yeah, we'll definitely want to break that down.
We'll get into all of that with our expert here, but I think the takeaway is you're going to leave this deep dive feeling informed and empowered, and you're going to know exactly what to look out for.
That's the goal.
Exactly. So, okay, let's jump right in. The article calls B12 deficiency a silent saboteur, and I gotta ask, why is it so hard to detect? What makes it so sneaky?
Well, you see, the thing is, a lot of the symptoms of B12 deficiency can be mistaken for just, everyday life stuff.
Yeah.
Stress, being tired, maybe didn't sleep well. So people might just brush it off.
Yeah.
And that can mean they don't get the help they need or they get misdiagnosed.
Oh, that's worrisome. The article also mentioned something that kind of blew my mind. It said that even blood tests can be misleading when it comes to B12.
Yeah, that's true.
How is that even possible? If your blood work says you're fine, shouldn't you be, like, good to go?
Well, B12 metabolism, it's complicated.
Yeah.
It's not just a simple yes or no on a test. Your levels might seem normal, but you could still be experiencing effects of a deficiency.
Okay, so you're saying we can't just rely on one blood test. We need to, like, look at the whole picture.
Exactly. Symptoms, medical history, lifestyle, it all matters.
Right, right. And this is where it gets interesting, because the article really focused on how tricky B12 deficiency can be, especially for women.
Yes, definitely.
Why is that? What makes it more of a challenge for us?
Well, some of those classic B12 deficiency symptoms,
Yeah.
they overlap with, common female health issues
Oh, like what?
like fatigue and mood swings,
Yeah.
brain fog. These can also be caused by, hormonal changes, stress, lots of things.
Oh, right, of course.
So it's easy to misinterpret them, and that can delay diagnosis and treatment.
Makes sense. Okay, we've got to address the elephant in the room here. The article mentioned a potential link between B12 deficiency and cancer.
Right.
I gotta admit, when I read that, it kind of freaked me out.
I understand.
Can you help us understand this connection?
Sure. So some research has suggested a possible link, but it's important to emphasize that this is early research.
Okay.
We can't say that B12 deficiency causes cancer.
Right.
We need more studies to really figure out what's going on, but it's definitely something to be aware of.
Okay, so we're not jumping to conclusions, but good to know, good to be informed.
Absolutely.
So let's shift gears a bit and talk about solutions, because the article goes deep on B12 supplements, and it seems particularly enthusiastic about something called adenosyl B12.
Oh, yeah.
What's the deal with that? What makes it so special?
So not all B12 supplements are created equal.
I see.
Many of them use a form called cyanocobalamin, which is synthetic C12.
Mm-hmm.
But the article, and a lot of experts actually, they argue that the natural form, which is adenosylcobalamin, is it's better
In what way?
in a couple ways, actually. It's thought to be absorbed more easily, and it's potentially safer in the long run.
Oh, wow.
So that's something to keep in mind.
So it sounds like you got to be a savvy shopper when it comes to B12 supplements,
That's right.
right? Know what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
The article also mentioned diet, of course. If we want to go the natural route, what are some of the top food sources for B12?
Oh, you've got lots of good choices. Leafy greens,
Okay.
heirloom potatoes.
Those colorful ones.
Yep, not just the plain white ones. And, of course, fish is always a good source.
Leafy greens, heirloom potatoes, fish. Got it. Now, even with all this information, the article really stresses the importance of talking to a healthcare professional.
Yes, definitely.
Why is that so important?
Well, you shouldn't just start taking B12 supplements willy-nilly.
Right.
A healthcare professional can help you figure out if you actually have a deficiency.
Okay.
And if you do, they can recommend the right type and dosage of supplement.
Mm-hmm.
And they can also make sure that there's nothing else going on, any other underlying conditions that might be causing your symptoms.
So it's like having a personalized health detective on your side, right?
Like, yeah.
Someone to help you crack the case.
That's a great way to put it.
And I think this is where it gets even more interesting, because the article talked about something called intrinsic factor, which sounds like something out of like a spy movie or something.
Right. It's a crucial piece of the puzzle.
It is. What is it?
Intrinsic factor is a protein that's produced in our stomachs, and it's absolutely vital for B12 absorption.
Mm-hmm.
You could be eating all the B12-rich foods in the world, but if you don't have enough intrinsic factor,
Mm-hmm.
your body can't actually use that B12.
Oh, wow. So even with a healthy diet, some people might still need B12 injections or supplements.
Exactly. If there are issues with intrinsic factor,
Wow, that's a lot to take in.
it is. But it's fascinating.
It is. And it really shows how complex this whole B12 thing can be.
Absolutely.
There's a lot more going on beneath the surface than we realize.
Exactly.
All right,
And
everyone,
that's why we're
welcome
here,
to
uncover those
another
layers
deep dive.
and
Today
help
we're
people
going to
understand
tap.
what's really going on with their health. It really shows you how intricate our bodies are. There's so much going on behind the scenes. It's wild.
It really is. Speaking of behind the scenes, this article has a whole section about how B12 affects how we behave, like our mood.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that neurotransmitters are important for mood, but I had no idea B12 plays such a big role in making them.
It's true. It really does. So if your B12 levels are low, it can throw off the balance of those neurotransmitters.
Right.
And that can lead to, well, all sorts of things.
Like
You might be more irritable
Sure.
or have trouble focusing
Yeah.
or even feel anxious or a little depressed.
So it's not just physical stuff. B12 can mess with your mental game, too.
Exactly. It's a great example of how, everything's connected in our bodies.
It really is. This part kind of blew my mind, Imagine how much better we could all feel if we just had enough B12.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
Okay, so I'm curious about something else. We talked about getting B12 from food, but then the article mentioned this thing, pernicious anemia.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty intense.
Yeah.
What is that exactly, and how does it tie in with B12?
So pernicious anemia, it's a condition where your body just can't absorb B12 properly.
Mm.
And that's because it's not producing enough intrinsic factor, that protein we were talking about earlier.
Oh, right.
It's like, you have the key, but it doesn't fit the lock.
Yeah.
You might be eating all the right things, but your body just can't access the B12.
Oh, wow. So in that case, just changing your diet isn't enough.
Right. You need medical intervention
With that B12.
to actually get the B12 into your system.
I see. And that's another reason why it's so important to work with a doctor, right?
Absolutely.
They can diagnose those trickier conditions.
Exactly. And make sure you're getting the appropriate treatment.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, the article also mentioned working with a holistic health coach. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a great idea, especially for something like B12 deficiency,
Oh, yeah. How so?
A holistic health coach can help you make sense of all the information out there.
Right.
They can help you create a personalized plan,
Okay.
provide support, keep you accountable.
It's like having your own health cheerleader.
Yeah. Someone to guide you and, make sure you're on the right track.
Love it. The article really emphasizes taking charge of your own health, and it made me think about just how powerful knowledge is.
Oh, absolutely. When you understand how your body works,
Yeah.
you can make better decisions for yourself, advocate for your own well-being.
You're in the driver's seat.
Exactly. And this deep dive, that's what it's all about.
Right. Empowering our listeners, giving them the knowledge to be their own health detectives.
Exactly.
All right, we're back for the final part of our B12 investigation. And, after reading this article, I just keep thinking about how sneaky B12 deficiency can be.
Oh, yeah. It's
Or
true.
it's like a ninja just slowly draining your energy and messing with your head.
It really is.
So what are some of those, subtle clues, the signs that you might be low in B12 that people might miss?
Well, the early signs are often really subtle, like you said, sneaky. They just kind of blend into everyday life.
Right.
But even if it's mild, it can still have a, cumulative effect over time.
Okay.
So one thing to watch for is that persistent fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're just drained no matter how much sleep you get.
Ugh. Yeah, like your battery's always low.
Exactly. And another one is brain fog, having trouble concentrating.
Oh, tell me about it.
You might be forgetting things or just feeling mentally sluggish.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And then there are the mood changes.
Oh, right.
You might be more irritable or anxious, even a little depressed.
Wow. It really can affect you in so many ways.
It really can. And that's what makes it so tricky because these symptoms, they can come on so gradually. You might not even realize what's happening at first, It's like a slow leak in a tire.
I love that analogy, the slow leak. And it just goes to show you really have to be your own advocate,
Exactly.
Pay attention to those little changes. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Absolutely. Being informed is so important.
Well said. Okay, so as we wrap up our B12 deep dive here, what's that one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think it's this. If you are experiencing any of the symptoms we talked about, the fatigue, the brain fog, the mood swings, don't just brush them off. Talk to your doctor, get your B12 levels checked, rule out a deficiency.
So
It
important.
might just be the key to, feeling your best.
Such good advice. And I think it's important to remember that this is just the beginning, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's always more to learn. So keep digging, keep asking questions, and, take charge of your health.
Absolutely. I love that.
A huge thank you to our amazing expert for sharing their knowledge with us today. It's been a fascinating conversation.
It really has. Thanks for having me.
And to all of our incredible listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of B12.
Thanks, everyone.
We hope you learned something new and feel empowered to take action.
Yeah. Take care of yourselves.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay healthy.
Yeah. See you next time.